Guys, the biggest dive death update is right around the corner. Even though I said that like 10 times already, and it still hasn't came out yet. But anyways, during the course of me playing this goofy and fun game, I've learned a ton of cool tech and tricks that y'all can use for your next games to easily win them, oh my goodness. And for the video, let's go over the civilian team first with their abilities, and then we're gonna do the killer abilities right after. Let's go alphabetically, and start off with the adrenaline ability. Which is actually kind of funny because I have no tech for this thing. Even though I'm supposed to talk about every ability, I literally have nothing to teach y'all. The only thing the adrenaline has going for it are just the speed. But next up, we have the banana ability. The banana is a very goofy and fun ability to use, and I feel like a funny way to use this ability is to place it inside of non-can collide parts. For example, on the temple map, once the Draco boulder does its thing and says you must die, there's a chance that the bridge parts will fall onto the ground, and you can actually use them to kind of hide your banana. It's going to be very scuffed and very inconsistent. It's probably not going to work most of the time. In addition, you can also place these bananas inside of Badware's PCs, mainly because, like, you know, this guy's trying to, like, prevent you from actually destroying the PC. And I guess you could place these things behind the Artful walls as they're trying to, like, go through it or something. Now let's move on to the block, and oh boy, there's actually some pretty cool tech. So obviously the block can block almost everything in the game, like almost everything. Something y'all can block is actually the Artful's minions, and the very cool part is, you're gonna get your full 10 HP heal. Another thing you can block is actually the bleed damage overtime. For example, if the Badware riffs onto you, you can just block the bleed and fully negate the damage. And of course, you can also block the Pursuer's cleave damage overtime, but preferably you block the actual cleave itself, and then let the 10 damage just do its thing. And something cool you can do is block the evil scary, wowie! Just make sure you time it properly or else you're probably gonna die. And speaking about the Badware again, you can actually kind of bait your block, like you're doing like a generator bait block from Doomed by Fate. You can also block the Harken's Tangle and their agitation as well, which is a very easy thing to do. And something that's pretty obvious y'all can block is a Killdroid's auto aim whenever he uses the flight ability. Literally just go under the Killdroid. If you hear the sound cue, you get a free block. And speaking about countering a Killdroid, it's actually pretty easy to juke out this guy's flight ability. Once you hear the sound cue, or pretty much that, instantly turn into the other direction, make sure you're sprinting, and you should be able to dodge this guy's attacks pretty easily. Moving on, we have the bonus pad. Just like the adrenaline ability, I don't have any tech for this thing. I mean, I guess you can use it to perma-loop around the killer, around like a structure or something. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have the Caretaker ability. Literally the only quote-unquote tech I can come up with is using the linger and hitboxes to your advantage. Pretty much you're gonna spin your mouse like this whenever you're trying to heal, so that you can heal everyone around you. I think that's pretty cool. But as far as that goes, I don't really have any tech for the Caretaker. And that'll bring us on to the Cloak ability. Oh man, the Cloak. One of the biggest counters to the Artful, which is actually kind of funny because a lot of abilities counter the Artful in this video. But whenever you use this Cloak, you can actually now go through the Artful's walls, which is super useful especially if you're trying to escape or trying to breach someone else. In addition, you can use the Cloak to safely pass by the Artful's music boxes without getting slowed down. I think that's very cool. And furthermore, you can use the Cloak to counter the Pursuer's stock ability. It's actually pretty OP. This thing also works for LMS as well, which is insanely useful against killers without a good aura reading ability. For example, the Badware, maybe the Artful, and maybe the Harken. They just got updated, so maybe not. And the Cloak ability works super well against the Killdroid's flight auto aim. Unfortunately, we cannot say the same thing about the deploy ability. If you try to pass through these deploy traps, they will get triggered. Just keep in mind whenever you're passing through water, you're going to be able to see the ripples, so like it's a dead giveaway you're there. And of course, if you try to use a bonus pad, it's going to get activated, so then the killer knows you're trying to get away. And also, I don't know if this is still a thing, but apparently you can also counter the evil scary. I think that's very funny. Or in this case, a 26 folk, I think that's pretty funny. And moving on to the dash ability. One of the best evasive abilities in the game. The best tech I can give y'all is just using this thing on high elevations. For example, the Glass Houses map. You can actually use this thing on one of the high ledges to easily gain distance and counter the fall stagger. Another cool tech you can do, which I'm pretty sure is already patched, but previously, you're able to dash over some small ledges, and apparently you're able to dash over Artful's walls. And obviously another cool dash thing you can do is use it at 0 stamina. I think that's very nice. And that's gonna bring us on to the Hotdog ability. Obviously one of the best abilities in a game. If you're trying to lose, the only tech that I know is using it to lose stamina and get hit by the killer and then die. Moving on, we have the Punch ability. One of the finest offensive abilities in the game, and it can deal some pretty nice damage. One thing I love doing is breaching the map. For example, this part of the base plate map, it opens up a nice looping section. You can also breach this glass panel right here to jump into that area. I think that's pretty nice. One thing you can do is punch an Artful wall to kind of breach it, or at least lower its HP. Whenever a killer is using an ability, you can obviously stun them to cancel it, and that's going to bring us on to the Taunt ability. One of the best abilities in the entire game, and there's some cool tech you can do. First off, you can actually use the Taunt to breach areas of the map. Just like the punch, you can open up some space and just create like breaches for like the team. I think that's very nice. And something cool you can do is actually taunt a minion. Technically, you could try to taunt the music box in a wall, but it's not going to give you a shield. However, you can definitely use a taunt on a Killdroid. Whenever they're using your depoy ability, you get a very nice 2-for-1 special. And if timed correctly, you can fully negate the Killdroid's detonate ability, which is awesome whenever you do it. And finally, we have the Revolver ability. One of the best abilities in the entire game, and here's some pretty funny tech. You can cancel Artful's minion repurpose from a distance. You can also use his ability to breach the map, as I already mentioned. But one thing I really like, if you're ever playing Love Shot, you can actually shoot the minions to heal yourself, which is very nice. Kind of similar to a block, so that's very cool. And yeah, that's gonna bring us on to the killer team. Starting out with the Pursuer.
Fresh meat.
Unfortunately, my boy doesn't really have any tech, but one thing I love to do is react to stuns. For example, if somebody ever tries to stun me, I'm gonna instantly howl, depending on how many people are near me. You can't really cancel the howl ability because it is like instantaneous, so you can actually use this thing as like a buffer or parry thingy, if you know what I mean. I think it's very effective. Next up, we have the Badware. One thing I love doing with the Badware is placing down the PCs under the map. For example, the HQ map has this basement section. You get tons of speed from above, but one thing I really love is a base plate map. Once this water rises, the civilians cannot destroy the PCs. Also, one thing you can do is knock out the civilians into the water with your bolt ability. I think that's pretty funny. And speaking about the bolt ability, you can fully move during this time, so you can actually try to juke out your ability, or maybe aim for somebody else. And now let's move on to the Artful. Going back to the base plate map, you can place your music boxes right here. Not only will the civilians get slowed, but whenever a civilian gets double slowed from the music box in the water, if they are walking they won't be able to move, they can only move whenever they're sprinting. And one thing that Artful can do is do like a semi-animation cancel. After using your swipe ability, you can almost instantly repurpose. This thing works super well against civilians who miss their abilities, because they're almost guaranteed to repurpose. And when it comes to the Harken, I'm sorry, I don't have any tech for y'all, besides stabbing yourself in-game of course. And for the Killdroid, one thing y'all can do is use the deploy ability during your flight, right as you're about to crash land. You can also use the detonate ability as well. I think that's pretty funny. And yes people, that was it. That was me showing y'all some OP hidden tech, oh my goodness. Even though this should be like common knowledge for people who have 2+ days played on this game, let me know down below any cool tech that I missed out on, and your thoughts on the video. But until then people, I'm just done here, peace out. And before we end, I just want to give a huge shout out, huge thanks to all my YouTube channel members. I love you people so much. Y'all are very generous and very genuine people out there. I appreciate y'all very much. If I can give y'all a hug, I'll give you a hug like right now. If you give me your permission, of course, like I had to get permission. And okay, fine, I really got me funny cams, I ain't gonna lie. So if you enjoyed, please like. If you guys didn't, please dislike. And yeah, I'll see you in this video.